In court today, we learn more about what led up to Deputy Larry Henderson's death.
Prosecutors laying out the timeline of events leading up to Rodney Hinton Jr.'s allegedly hitting and killing that deputy. News 5 anchor Chris Jacobs joins us right now to walk us through the new details that we've learned in court. Hi, Chris.
Yeah, hey guys. Well, this is a very short timeline. All of this happening over the course of just a few hours. According to testimony today from Cincinnati officer Carl Beebe, at 9:30, we know members of the Hinton family went to CPD's criminal investigation section to watch body cam video of Ryan Hinton being shot by an officer. Now, Beebe says around 10:30, the family left CIS and Rodney Hinton Jr. was too upset to drive, so he got into a car with family members and left his car at CIS. Then he came back around 2 hours later to get his car, and Beebe says Hinton got into his car and left, followed by his family, but then circled back and drove through the CIS parking lot again at 12:49 before he headed toward Clifton. Now, at the same time, Deputy Larry Henderson was standing at a traffic control box to cycle lights for UC's graduation. Officer Beebe says at about 1 p.m., Hinton went left of road markers through the intersection of MLK and Burnett Woods Drive and hit Deputy Henderson and a utility pole. Beebe says Hinton never tried to stop or to turn. Now, Officer Beebe says Hinton didn't try to run off afterwards either, and he was still in his car by the time a second deputy showed up. And Beebe says there were cameras that captured the incident, including one on a bus. Chris Jacobs, WLWT, News 5.
All right. Peace and blessings, all praises to the Most High. A couple of things I want you to take away from that video. Most importantly, the man said there was video footage. There was video camera footage from a bus and more places in the area. So once again, if this incident happened the way they said it happened, why has not that footage been released to the public? Now, of course, last week, several individuals have came out saying that Rodney Hinton Jr. was not the individual driving the vehicle. And that has been, reported by many people I've talked to in the Cincinnati area. And so that may be one reason why they are not releasing this footage that the cameraman clearly said that they have. But there's another thing that I want to point out is about that timeline that they mentioned. And I'm going to play you another narrative from, I think that's the police chief or, the DA, laying out this intricate timeline where Rodney Hinton went to the police department. He watched the video. He became distraught. He walked outside. He walked back in. Then he left with some family members. Family members took him to get something to eat, and he went to sleep and came back with the family members, got his car, left, came back, drove to the parking lot. And then with his family following him, that's when he hit the officer. But that is not what was originally stated when this event first happened. I'm going to show you two different articles that gives a completely different narrative of the situation from Rodney Hinton Jr. leaving the police station until he allegedly hit that cop. Now, this is another person giving that same narrative that I just gave you, that the news just gave you. Now, watch this, and I think this is one of the police chiefs, sheriffs, DA, whoever the lying people are. But watch this.
Involving the death of, his son, Ryan Hinton. They meet with the chief there. At 9:51 a.m., Hinton, and when I say Hinton, henceforth, that means Rodney Hinton Jr., the defendant herein. Mr. Hinton was so upset, he left the building. At 10:37, so almost 50 minutes later, the family that was with him comes out of the building and they all leave in one car. Mr. Hinton left his vehicle there because he was upset. The family drives him up to Findlay Market, where they suggest he gets something to eat, and he declined. After that, they go to the home of a family member. Mr. Hinton takes a 30-minute nap. By 12:41, the family decided that they could return him to the police station, lower left part of the slide, where he can retrieve his vehicle. And at 10:44, Hinton drives out of the parking lot, but his family follows him. Hinton drives back to the police department and drives through the parking lot. His family is still following him. At 12:50, he leaves, drives up Clifton Avenue. His family is still following him. Turns onto Martin Luther King Drive. Family members still follow. There's a lot of traffic and congestion. Hinton pulls into the right lane. You're right by campus there. And at 1:05 p.m., Deputy Henderson is hit.
All right, so I'm going to stop it there. Now, you heard this DA. I think her name is Pillage. And she's very pillaging the truth right now. But she's talking about how Rodney left the building and he left with his family. His family took him to Family Market where they asked him to get something to eat, and he declined. And he went home and took a 30-minute nap. First of all, how do you know all that? You were not there. And I'm pretty sure that the family is probably not talking to you, telling you all of these things about Rodney. So where are you getting this made up information? Now, you heard the news video say the same thing, give the same timeline, minus the market and the nap, right? And this lady goes on to say, yeah, he went and drove off, left with family, came back, went to get something to eat. And, you know, his family was following him. Pay attention that his family was following him while he hit the deputy. But this is statements released right after the incident happened. And I had to go back and look this up. But just look at these statements right after when the incident happened. And this is a statement from his lawyer. And I'm going to enlarge it so you can see the entire screen. Said attorneys representing the Hinton family released a statement Saturday afternoon saying the family was heartbroken by the death of the deputy. The attorneys with the Cochran firm, Pearson said they're in the beginning stage of an investigation into Ryan Hinton's death. Said Friday we attended a meeting between the family members of the Cincinnati Police Department to view the body cam footage of Ryan Hinton's shooting death. The statement reads, Ryan Hinton's family, including Ryan's father, was present at the meeting and they were understandably distraught as they watched the video. After the meeting with the police department, Ryan Hinton's father left in his own vehicle, and that was the last time we heard from him until learning about the tragic incident involving a law enforcement officer who was working a traffic detail near the University of Cincinnati. Now, how could both be true? You hear the attorney for Rodney Hinton saying that he left the meeting. He was so distraught that he left the meeting and no one heard from him. That was the last time anyone heard from him until the accident. But now these people are telling you that he left with family. The family took him back to get his car. The family was following him at the time of the accident, which is true. Now, I showed you two separate instances of that timeline. Here is another article stating the same thing, that no one heard from Rodney Hinton until the crash. Said lawyer Michael Wright said in a statement that Mr. Hinton became understandably distraught watching the police body cam footage and was unable to finish watching the video. The meeting included members of the Cincinnati Police Department. After the meeting with police department, Ryan Hinton's father left in his own vehicle, and that was the last time we'd heard from him until learning about the tragic incident involving a law enforcement officer who was working the traffic detail. And I'll stop it right there. Those are two separate articles saying that when Rodney Hinton Jr. left the police department, no one heard from him since. Now you have these people on the other side who are claiming that Rodney did this in malice and he was targeted and they're trying to give him the death penalty, saying that he did all of these things before committing that alleged act. So why are there two conflicting stories? You must ask yourself. They said his family was following him at the time. This person said nobody heard from him until he left the building. See, that's how you got to really dig into these deep. Now, this was the first statement they put out way before this narrative came. And of course, once again, I've had several, sources say that Rodney Hinton wasn't even driving the car. One timeline, they probably removed that timeline, said he hopped in the vehicle with a lady. He did. He said he hopped in the vehicle with a lady in his car. And you can go back and research and find that one. I didn't take time to find that, but there's so many different conflicting stories to this investigation. But the main part is, where is that camera footage that came from a bus? And you see the footage that's taking the pictures, those are still photos. So that means there's camera that captured that. City cameras, stoplight cameras, business cameras. Why are they not releasing the footage? The footage is being withheld for a reason, in my opinion, is because Rodney Hinton may very well not be the person who was driving. Once again, there is nobody crying. There's no, what some people call them, crisis actors around crying, holding their head. Nobody, testifying about what they saw. Isn't that strange? There's nobody. Now, once again, this is near the University of Cincinnati when it was supposed to be like a graduation. He's directing traffic. So thousands of people are out there. Not one person has came forward to be an eyewitness of the crash. That doesn't seem strange to you? If it doesn't, then I'll just, end this right now. But, you have to look at the two things. These two conflicting stories about Ryan Hinton being alone, then Ryan Hinton being followed by his family. Also, we have footage of the accident. Several accidents involving high-profile people have been released to the public. Why is this accident footage being withheld? You got to ask yourself. And then when you figure it out, let me know what you think in the comments. But as always, I thank y'all for watching these videos. Thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel. Thanks for all the support, calls, texts, cash apps, all those things. I really appreciate it. And as always, peace and blessings.